Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back with another one. It is the Authority Project. I am Brian S. Arnold, your host, and I'm here with my new good friend, Andrew Ryder. And he says he is here to help us level up from expert to leader. Is that right, Andrew?
That's absolutely right, Brian. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we shall see on this episode of how we can get it done, how we can do this and make it special for today. Everybody, this is the Authority Project. Let's go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, feast your eyes and tune your ears. It's that time again. We are live with another episode of The Authority Project. It's the video podcast streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Periscope, where we talk to digital marketers, business coaches, and creators of all kinds on how they've built authority in their field and how you can mimic their success. Developing authority, building your audience, and attracting better clients to your own business. Now, without further ado, let's bring to the virtual stage your host, Brian S. Arnold.
All right, we are back with another one, folks. It's the Authority Project. I am Brian S. Arnold, and you are the project. We want to sell. We want to slap authority to your name so you can sell more of what you're great at. And I am here with Andrew. How are you doing today, man, my friend?
Hey, Brian. Doing well, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. We sound good. So we're good to go here. We're good to go here. Had a little bit of technical difficulties in the beginning, but it's okay. This is part of the process always, actually. So before we get started, Andrew, because I got a lot to get through to you today. So tell us who you are, Andrew, personally and then professionally.
Sure. Yeah. I'm a pretty simple guy. I like to write. I like to spend time with my fiance. We're getting married here in a little less than 2 months. So
congrats.
with all of that planning and stuff.
Yeah.
I like to work out and I like to read. It's kind of funny. When I say that I like to write, my fiance always has to tack on, he likes to read and write and things, because not that many people seem to like to write very much. So
yeah.
But so that's that's a little bit about me. And as far as professionally, my fiance and I have been on this journey together for a few years now, and I was always jealous of her because she knew exactly what she wanted to do right away. She had these health problems and worked through them and discovered a passion for helping other people to with similar things. She's a nutritional therapy practitioner, which basically means that she helps people with their health, improving symptoms, or just feeling more energized by the foods that they eat and the lifestyle choices that they make. And so we started her business together a few years ago, and I was kind of bouncing around doing a bunch of different things and getting into marketing and enjoying it. We were having a good time, but we didn't know what we were doing at all. And so we kind of fell for all of the tricks and all of the, it's kind of one of those things where it was tragic to go through, but when you look back on it, you kind of smile and laugh about it a little bit.
Yeah.
We bought a whole bunch of programs that we shouldn't have bought. We got lied to, we got ripped off, we got pretty much everything that you could imagine, and really just ended up feeling lost and demoralized and depressed even that we went through.
So how much in total did you think you invested in all this stuff? If I was going to ask you that question.
Coaching programs, like group and one-on-one coaching programs, we spent about $25,000 over.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
And then there were courses and other things built in there,
Right.
Too.
Yeah.
So we definitely learned some of these lessons the hard way.
Yeah.
And we finally got her business up and running, and I was still thinking, man, I wish I knew what I wanted to do. Like, I was, I really enjoyed marketing and writing content. I was doing a lot of that stuff for her. And I started to see that other people were struggling through the same things. As you can imagine, everybody's going out spending a bunch of money. They're sort of getting fixated on the trees and they're missing the forest, right? They're like, I need to get a better headline swipe file so I can write higher converting headlines so I can get, you know, more engagement on my content, or whatever it might be. And I sort of, there's this analogy that I like for this situation, in that, you know, when I was in college, I lived in New York City for a couple of years, and we took the subway all over town, and you did whatever college kids are doing, getting into mischief and stuff. And the subway system in New York is very different from this video I saw of the subway system in Japan, because in Japan, they really like to pack people on those trains, and they have these workers that stand on the platform. I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but they have these big plastic sheets, and they'll get in behind you, and they will push those plastic sheets to cram as many people as they can into the train car, so that then the doors can close without hitting people.
Okay. And
so then, you know, they cram as many people in, the train leaves, they step back, you know, next train comes, they cram more people, and they just do that all day, right? The transit agency hires them to do that. Wow. And I think there's been a shift in, or there's this problem is really prevalent in the online business industry as well, because there's a lot of advice out there that says that you should be just cramming as many people into this launch. And then you send that launch off, and then the next launch comes in, you're still on the platform, you cram as many more people as you can, and it goes, right? And it's like, I got to get this 10K launch, I got to get all these marketing things and do all these things. And when you send that train off, it goes, right? You have your 2-3 month program, whatever it is, and it's gone. And then you're on to the next launch, right? What I realized is that what's missing is leadership. And the way that I would define that in this analogy is that leadership, you know, as the business owner, as the person who's teaching whatever skills it is that you teach, or whatever products or services you offer, it's your job to be driving the train. Okay. You're not supposed to be back on the platform just filling up the train. You're supposed to be in the driver's seat. You're supposed to cast and lead people into that better future.
Okay.
And
I like that.
So that's, you know, that's what I try to help people realize, and give people the tools to step into that driver's seat in their businesses.
Awesome. Since we're already in there, there's another question I usually ask, but we're already deep in it. So let's get into it then. What's wrong with being, so your title is, you know, leveling up from expert to leader. So what's wrong with just being an expert, Andrew? Is there anything wrong with just being, I'm an expert at this, I'm the coach of this, you know, this is my thing. What is the difference between that and getting into that leadership status?
Yeah, that's a really important distinction to make, because I get that all the time. It's like, well, you know, what's wrong with being an expert? Being an expert's great. And yeah, it is. You know, you definitely want to be good at what you do. And, you know, we can draw a distinction between being an authority in the way that you teach, right, and being an expert. I think there's some differences there. But really what I like to hone in on is there's a fundamental mindset difference between just being an expert at something. Like, you can be good at something and not be a leader. And, you know, to give an example of that, so Albert Einstein has sort of 5 levels of intelligence, as he would define it. And, you know, the first few are what you would expect. Number 2 is what he would call a genius, someone who is the smartest person in their field, right? Someone who's an expert. They know everything about a topic better than anyone else in the world. But above that, you know, number 1, to go a step further, would be to make it simple, to make it so simple that you can teach it to somebody else. And so I think there's a difference between that, you know, this kind of teases out that difference between knowing something really well and being able to teach it to someone else and to bring them along to get that result that you're trying to achieve for them.
Yeah. So I love where you're going with this. So making it simple for the people that you're trying to serve. And there's I like the difference in that. So how do we get that going? I want to ask you, like, Yeah, let's start there. How do we do that? Answer that question first. I'm sorry. Go ahead with that.
Sure. So how do we get transition from an expert to a leader, right? Am I understanding
Yeah,
the question
yeah,
right?
right.
Yeah. So I think there's a number of different things that you can do. The place that I like to start is to recognize that leadership is not for the CEO of a large company. It's not just for, your mid-level manager with direct reports in a big corporation. Whether you are a big business, a small business, or it's just you by yourself, you're just getting started and you have 0 customers and you're looking for your first client,
Right.
you are a leader. You have to be able to lead yourself before you can lead other people. So what that looks like is really in consistently being the type of person who you want your customers to be, who you want your clients to be, to really set an example for them. That's
Yeah.
a key pillar of leadership, is leading by example, right? So it's the actions that you're taking and the demonstration. Your clients want to see, or your prospects want to see you doing it. They want to see that it works for you, that you actually practicing what you preach.
Right.
We were talking earlier about all the mistakes that I made. One of the mistakes I made was I was just buying programs. I wasn't looking at what they were saying to do, not what they were
Yeah.
actually doing.
Right.
And in a lot of cases, those are completely different things, right?
Right. Right. Right.
So that's a big thing. And when you really get down to it, this is how we are innately designed to learn, is by example. When we were children, we watch what our parents do. We watch how they act, their mannerisms, all the things that they do. We start to make sounds. We start to mimic what they do, and eventually figure out how to make some words. And eventually you can stand up, and then you start to walk, right? But your parent doesn't come in and they don't say, okay, first step, you're going to, get into a seated position and you're going to grab onto the leg of the chair, and then you're going to pull yourself and really engage your back, right? Like
Right.
they didn't tell you what to do. They
Right.
just did things and you figured it out by watching them.
Yeah.
And so we have that just innately built into us, that if the person who, we've decided we want to follow them,
Right.
we're going to learn from the things that they're doing, the actions they're taking, and the ethics and the morals that they live by.
So what you're saying, Andrew, is deeply rooted in, like, one of my models, like, build it, share it, and they will come. So that big thing about sharing what you do is it's a lot of people are doing it, but then some people are missing it. So are you saying, like, we need to be going out there and telling people, like I did this, I'm doing this, and doing like a journey and showing them your journey, or showing them your like, kind of documenting what you've done or what you're doing? Is that what you're saying by that, as far as being a leader in that? Because you can be an expert and not share anything, and no one knows about it except for you.
Right.
So how do you lead by example? By what is the process of sharing that expertise, so that people understand that you are a leader at this now?
Yeah, a couple of points that I want to hit on here. So it's definitely valuable to show people under the hood what it is that you're doing. If you can get in and you can do a screen share of whatever your methodology is, or whatever, if you can demonstrate what you're doing, that is a really great way for people to learn how you think, how you operate, and not just, okay, step 1, do this, step 2, do this, but all the little pieces that go in between. But there's sort of a balance to me, because you don't want to, there's this quote I really like that says that if you're good at something, you tell other people. If you're great at something, other people tell you.
Okay.
And so you want to be careful you're not just going around saying how good you are at what you do and you're the best and everybody should buy your stuff.
Okay.
It's you definitely want to be like riding the other side of that line, where you're demonstrating it without sort of bragging or being overly boisterous about what you're doing.
Right, gotcha. I gotcha. And I think what's even worse is that if you're like out there and telling people what to do, but you're not showing them that you've done it or that you're doing it now, kind of thing.
So yeah, and so the third thing I wanted to mention about that is really another pillar of leadership is your content creation. And this is a really big thing for me. This is how, and you see, they all tie together, right? So it's easier to lead by example if you're creating a bunch of content and you're demonstrating what it is that you're doing. You're demonstrating, maybe how you react to certain things that are happening in the news. How does someone who buys into your methodology, who wants to go to that destination that journey that you're on, how does someone like us get through this current hurdle? Whatever it could be politics, it could be, whatever, it could be fitness related and you're trying to figure out how to get your workouts in and stay in shape. It could be anything. It's just, how do you handle this present day situation? Another thing could be just something that happened in your life. What's going on in your world. Nothing says that you're a leader like relentless content creation and just every day getting out there and saying, hey, I was thinking about you today when this happened, and everybody's really struggling right now with these things, so here's what we're going to do about it, right? And then you're there again and again and again. And the more consistently and the more frequently that you can do that, the more you're going to be able to build a quality, real relationship with the person who's on the other end of that communication, right? It's so easy to get wrapped up into all of the numbers and all of the things that conversion rates and likes and all these things. But sometimes we forget that it's a person on the other end of that transaction, and you want to treat them like a person. You want to actually build a relationship with them and walk with them step by step on that journey.
Yeah, I like how you said that, because content creation putting out content is just like, it can be a grind in and of itself, depending on where you're doing it. If you're talking about even just like one social channel or a blog or just like SEO, just like, I don't know. I think that's on, I'm talking about social channels and maybe just a blog, basically SEO doing those things. It's a grind. So how do you stand out? What kind of content should you be putting out there to stand out as a leader? Because everyone's trying to put out content. There's content constantly from all angles. Some hits, some doesn't. So, and I know people who try to do this over and over again, do live streams, do all these kind of things, and it doesn't hit at first, and they get discouraged. So, is there a blueprint for you that says this is the way I've done it, or this is the way I've seen other people that I've taught, that they're getting results this way, so that it counts for them, that they feel like they're making a difference?
I think that there's been a movement to try to create a step-by-step system for how to create content.
Yeah.
And I think that's a trap, because what happens is, let's say this person sells 100 of these content guides, and I think generally they mean really well and they want to help you to write better content. But I think the problem is more so it's not rooted in, or it's not solved by following a set topic. And so let me explain myself a little bit here. So, because if they, like I was saying, if they sell 100 of those content calendars or methodologies, there's going to be 100 people who are probably in a similar niche to you. They're targeting similar audience, and they're going to be pumping out very similar types of content. And you see all the time where you can tell what courses people have taken by looking at the post and seeing how their content is structured.
Right.
And people don't respond to, as soon as they see that as soon as they recognize the pattern, it's out the window. You know, there's so many, like you said, there's so many pieces of content. There's so much advertising coming at us that the only thing that stands out, the only thing that even makes it into your conscious mind, because 90% of everything is just completely filtered out. You don't even see it, right? You know, it's like if you've ever been driving around, and this has happened to me with Range Rovers and it's happened to me with Teslas. So I was driving and I saw a Range Rover one time, and I thought to myself, I just don't think I would pay, 80, 90, 100 grand for that kind of vehicle.
Yeah.
And I thought, I guess a lot of people aren't into those cars either, because I never see them around. And then I saw Range Rovers everywhere, and I still see them, and I still think about that. I see Range Rovers all the time now. Same with Teslas everywhere.
Right.
Because when I had that click in my head of noticing it, I started to process every time that I saw a Range Rover. It started to actually, they were there the whole time. They were just getting filtered out.
Yeah.
And so to bring it back to content creation, David Ogilvy has a strategy that he coined called a burr of singularity. And the idea is that there should be something like a burr in all of your content pieces and all of your ads and everything that you publish that sticks to your audience. It sticks to the people who read it. Like if you ever go out walking in the tall grass and you get all these little sharp little burrs stuck in your jeans or something, that's the idea. It needs to be something singular, something unique. And this is the problem with all of these sort of paint by numbers content systems, is that there's nothing unique in them. And so when you're writing this type of content, you're set up to fail because you're writing the same thing that everybody else has already seen before. And so that's kind of a long-winded way to describe the problem, but to get to the solution, we need to tell stories. The human brain is just adapted to receive and understand stories. Even from a very young age, you can watch a movie like Snow White or a Disney movie, Pinocchio or something, and you can understand at a base level very complex storylines and story arcs that they're building in those movies. Yeah. And we just have this proclivity for storytelling as human beings. But it's also, it gives you an opportunity to say something unique. There are things that are happening in your life and you're seeing them in a different way than other people would. Even if it's the same sort of big life event, your take on that based on your life experience and your methodology for solving your problems is going to be unique. And so when you take a news story, or you take, I went down to the park and walked my dog and this happened. Nobody else is going to be talking about those types of things, not in the same way that you are. Yeah. And ultimately, when people are buying from you, when they're buying your products and services, first, they're buying you as the person. If you're selling coaching or you're selling information products or you're publishing things, they're buying you. They want to be like you and have the things that you have and do the things that you do. That's why they're buying from you and not from somebody else who has a similar product. Because there's going to be someone out there who sells something that is in the same universe that you sell. As far as when you look at it, strip everything out and just look at the physical things that you're getting from that package. If it's 3 months of coaching and you're going to, you get a 6-pack abs, right? There's a million people you can learn how to get 6-pack abs from, right? So through your stories and through these lessons that you teach people, it gives you a unique opportunity to explain to them why your program is better, or it's faster, or it's cheaper, or it's different, or however you want to approach that market in a unique way.
I like how you say stories, but I really want to really emphasize when you say stories, because I see a lot of people bring out their stories, and then it's like one post, here's who I am, I used to be this, that, and the other, and then the story's done in one post. So are you saying, so when you're doing your stories, are you saying like tell your story throughout a series of posts, or a continuing story that the people can go along with your journey? Or is it like, here I am, I was born poor, I had bankruptcy twice, and now I'm here now and trying to do better. And is it that kind of story where you're doing like one post and you're feeling really good, you're trying to get that bootstrap feeling, get people up there, and then there it is? Or is it a continuous story where it's compelling and something that they can really grab onto?
Yeah, I think there's a place for both.
Okay.
So to give an example, I'll tell my story, but I'll also tell stories about what's going on in my life. There are lessons that you can learn in everything that you do. So for example, the other day we took our dog down to the river, and she, going on a walk is her favorite thing in the whole world. And she likes to go down and run in the water and fetch sticks and stuff. But she also has a fixation on other dogs. And so this time we got down to the water, and there was another dog on the other side of the river. And she spent the whole time we were there staring at the other dog, watching the other dog play. Mm-hmm. And she ruined her outing because she was too fixated on what the other dog was doing. Right. And so we have that problem all the time as business owners. You go on social media, and 30 seconds later, you're looking at someone else's amazing lifestyle, and you're wishing that you had the cars or the fame or whatever that they have that you don't have. And we ruin all the things that we actually do have that are great, I mean, I'm totally guilty of this too. And so not only is it a lesson for the people who are listening, who are reading my content, but it's a reminder to myself of what I stand for and why I stand for the things that I do. So does that, that's just an example of how it could be something super simple, like walking your dog in the park. It could be really anything.
Yeah. I love that. So just a couple more questions so we can wrap this up here. Can you self-proclaim yourself that you're a leader? I know a lot of people put this together like, I am this. I'm the content boss now. All of a sudden, like, put a few posts out. I'm the content boss, or, I'm the Instagram coach, or, I'm the Facebook ad marketing expert. Look, can you self-proclaim that, or should you? Or did it take a while for you to maybe have somebody else say that you're the person, and then you put that in your bio? How does that all work, you think?
Yeah, you really have to be careful, because you have to make certain that you're not over exaggerating and that you can follow through on the claims that you make. Okay. Because we talked about briefly about all the problems that I had. A lot of that was, a lot of it was my fault. To be fair, I wasn't really ready for these programs that I invested in, but a lot of the programs, the people who were selling them were not qualified, and they were all talk and no game. And so you definitely want to make very sure that you're not over exaggerating, you're not getting beyond your depth, trying to capture a title or something that makes you feel. You don't want to overstep your reach, because if you make a mistake, the other person suffers for it. And so it's not going to really hurt you if you can't help someone, but it really hurts the person who hires you. Even if you give them their money back, you've hurt their self-esteem, because they're not going to necessarily think, oh, my coach is awful and couldn't help me. They're going to think, wow, that person has helped so many other people. Why couldn't I get those results too? What's wrong with me? And that damages them. And so, that was like, for me, that was one of the biggest things for me to get out and to actually start having these conversations and sharing this message is I had to be so certain that I wasn't going to do the same thing to other people that I was trying to help them avoid. Yeah. And it's, it's hard. I don't think I can tell you, there's not a checklist for when you're going to be ready, but you'll know it. And if you are really, truly dedicated to your audience, to the people that you're serving, I think you'll be just fine. But absolutely, when you're ready, declare yourself the leader and start acting like it.
Awesome. And this might be rolling into my last question. You might have already answered it, but we'll ask it anyway. So I ask it for all of my guests. It goes something like this. There are people who are watching now, they'll be listening later, and they might have similar goals as you. They want to help people be leaders in their particular fields. Can you tell them, and I'll put you front and center, how they can become an authority in this space?
I think the best way to become an authority is to trust yourself, to become a leader, to live out that lifestyle, that end product that you want your audience to achieve. Lead them by example. Be relentless with your content creation, all the things we just talked about in this conversation. And it's going to be hard sometimes. You're going to want to give up. There's going to be times when no one is listening. But if you can be consistent, if you can continue to publish, continue to lead, you'll make it through any obstacle.
I love that. That's fantastic, man. Fantastic. Awesome. This has been an incredible conversation today about being a leader, being more than just an expert, people. So can you tell them now, Andrew, where they can follow you after the show?
If you want to get in touch with me, learn how to create better content, learn how to become a better leader, you can find me at andrewbryder.com. I have some free training there, as well as my email newsletter. And if you head over there and join my newsletter, you can also get access to my mobile app, which has a bunch of more content, more video-based stuff, and just a whole bunch of resources, all for free, for you to become a better leader.
Absolutely. Amazing stuff, man. I am honored to have you on here, man. This was a great talk. great talk. I hope everybody got a lot out of it, because there's a challenge there. And amazing enough, I'm starting my first challenge very shortly here in the next 3 weeks, that kind of piggybacks off of this thing of where people, they don't really know what they want to do, and they invest before they know what they want to, and they invest many thousands of dollars before they actually really know what they want to do, and that's a mistake. So when I put out my challenge in the next 3 weeks, that we're going to be dealing just with that, figuring out what you do and how to put that into an offer. So this has just been incredible, man. I'm glad you kind of spurring this on for me already.
Absolutely.
So amazing stuff. I appreciate you, man. Do you have any final words before we get out of here?
Just thank you, Brian. I appreciate you having me on and persevering through the tech difficulty here. We made it through, and
yes.
You to the listener as well. We appreciate your time and your attention here.
Awesome. Everybody, remember, as I always say, build it, share it, and they will come. We'll see you next time. We're out of here.
And that's a wrap for this episode of The Authority Project. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you like what you heard, we want to hear from you. Subscribe, rate, and give an honest review. Share and tell your friends so they can hear too. And for even more authority building tactics, be sure to sign up at theauthorityletter.com. Get free weekly content and ongoing digital product giveaways to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. We certainly hope you got a key takeaway, or maybe an aha moment from today's broadcast. Just remember, it's your authority. Build it, share it, and they will come. Until next time.